Hello, my name is Frederick, and today we're going to have a look at yogurt making. So, I live in a place where yogurt is not readily available, or it is somewhat available in very absurd small quantities. So, this method will show you how to make yogurt at home in as large quantities as you would want. So we're just going to run through the things that you will need to make your own yogurt and then get into it. All right, so the first and most obvious thing is you will need something to make the yogurt in. I'm going to show this using, it's a pressure cooker. It would work just the same if you had a slow cooker. And it's something that you will heat the milk in, but because it has a lid and you can close the lid, it will keep the heat in, which makes for making the process a lot more expedient. So that's the tool. I should say, if the temperatures are high, if you're in a climate that's warm, you can make it on a pot on a stove and just leave it. And this is talking about 30 degrees centigrade, then it will just happen by itself. If you're in a cooler climate, you will need something that can keep the heat there. All right, so that's the tool. Another tool here is a thermometer. This is a meat thermometer. It doesn't really matter, just something that you can get the temperature somewhat accurate with. Something to stir the milk with. So that's the tools. You will need some milk. I suggest whole milk. So this is just, I have some in here as well. And, well, use whatever milk you prefer. Then you will need some kind of starter, something to introduce the bacteria into your mix. So I'm just using plain yogurt that I bought in the store, and this is the biggest you can get. So this is the origin of the whole quest. And we're going to put that in at a certain point in the process. So that's it. Now I'm just going to put the milk in here, turn on the heat, and then wait until the temperature reaches about 80 degrees centigrade, and we'll see what happens then. So at this point, as we start heating the milk, the most important point is that we keep stirring. So the milk is warming up and we're just stirring quite frequently, at the same time checking the temperature as well to make sure that we don't exceed the 80 degrees. So at this point, as we are approaching 80 degrees, you have to keep measuring and get the timing just right, and then we turn off the gas, and then it's simply waiting until we get down to 60 degrees. Keep stirring so skim doesn't develop on the top of the milk. So now the milk is down to 60 or below. I'm simply going to add in the yogurt, which acts as the starter for our yogurt, and then just stir it all together. Now, after mixing in the yogurt, we're simply going to leave it with the lid on for a number of hours and check every hour or so the consistency. And then at some point you'll arrive at this stage where the yogurt is finished and has thickened up. Alright, so we've arrived at the point where the yogurt is basically finished. It took 6-7 hours with this particular batch. It will vary depending on the temperature of the milk, what you're making it in, and how much yogurt you add to begin with. So because these things vary, it's hard to tell exactly how long it will take. One thing to note though is you want the temperature not to go below 30 degrees. An ideal is probably closer to 40, so 30 to 40 is a good range to shoot for, and that's what you get if you use this method. Yeah, so that's it. Now, how do you know whether it's finished? Well, there's two or three things that will tell you that it is. One is the particular smell of yogurt will be present. The other thing is it will thicken somewhat, showed how the consistency had thickened up. Sometimes you can also see, as you could see in my yogurt here, that there's actually a little bit of separation. That's separation between what's called the whey and what's probably the casein, but there's a separation of the yogurt. That will also tell you that it's thickened up enough. Now, at this point it's finished, and you could just stick it in the fridge if you want a somewhat thin yogurt. If you mix it, it will bind back together. I do want a thicker yogurt, so I'm going to be straining it. This is just like a cloth. Some call it like a muslin cloth or a cheesecloth, and it's just something that will hold the white part of the yogurt inside, whereas the more liquid whey will filter through. And that way you can get a thicker, more Greek-like yogurt, if that's what you're aiming for. So yeah, that's pretty much what there is to say about it. So let's get to the draining and see what consistency we can get to. To get a thicker yogurt, all you have to do is drain off the excess liquid. So I'm using that muslin cloth here, draining off the whey, and then the finished yogurt will end up looking something like this. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like button or subscribe button. It would help me out tremendously. And as always, thank you for watching.